Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 737, Old Time Radio, Mayberry after midday. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and check out some of the great items they have, like the Mayberry Man movie DVD. Wow, we've done the movie, and there's going to be a series coming out in the fall of 23. If you haven't seen the movie, go and pick up a DVD copy of it and check it out. You can even get it signed by Floyd. While you're over there, you might want to pick up a Mayberry Patrol Car emblem baseball cap. Man, those are so awesome. I love them. Show that Mayberry spirit and head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com to pick yours up. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by people just like you. The executive producer for episode number 737, wow, it's like an airplane, is Dave Cerrone. The Patreon patron of the week is Joyce Peters. And the High Sheriff of Two Chairs No Waiting is Chris Smerrill. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Dave. And thank you for joining me. I am Alan Newsom, the host for Two Chairs No Waiting. And it's always great to have you here with me on a day to be able to just talk about the Andy Griffith Show. So what we're going to be doing tonight, last week we heard from Floyd, because he sat in for me last week and did a little flashback to a time when he and Bert talked about going into business together. Well, that was originally released back on July the 13th, 2010. Ouch. And it was the very first time I'd ever done anything that kind of reminded me of those, old time radio shows that you can listen to. Andy Griffith was a huge fan of those. Well, it got me thinking at that time, and again, it was 2010, about, could you do something like that would sound like a lost old time radio version of the Andy Griffith Show? Well, it was June 5th of 2012 when I finally released the first episode, 191, and then the next week I released 192 of the first actual lost old time radio version of the Andy Griffith Show. That's what I did there. So the writer and Two Chairs listener, Joe Gritton, who's passed away now, he provided me a script featuring the Mayberry barber, Floyd Lawson. Floyd Lawson himself. And door-to-door salesman, Bert Miller. Oh my, those ringing doorbells. Yeah, he presented me a script for that, and then and I released it at that time for those two episodes, but it was broken into two parts because way back then, it took a long time to download stuff. It's a little better now. You can download bigger things. So about 4 years later, on July 5th of 2016, I re-released those two episodes combined together as episode number 384. So if you'd like to listen to the episode we're going to listen to tonight without me going into this preamble, you could just go back and listen to episode 384. Because when I released it, it was a special edition. And it was created to sound exactly like an episode of the Andy Griffith Show. I mean, Two Chairs was not introduced. Nothing like that happened. It just went straight into the episode with the Andy Griffith Show music and everything leading you into it. And so that's what we're going to listen to tonight. Those episodes, this week and next week, we're going to be listening to episodes like this. And they are very time consuming to make. So I've only ever made two of them. And this one again was originally done back in 2012, but it was released again back in 2016. So the episode's name is Mayberry After Midday, and it begins with Bert Miller walking down the sidewalk of Main Street. So when you're listening to this, think about that in your head and be envisioning it. He's walking from the Mayberry Grand over toward the courthouse, and as he nears Floyd's barbershop, he slows down and considers going in and maybe sitting down on the bench for a rest, but decides to go inside. So that's kind of how the episode starts. And in this episode, we have the music, this crowd noise, all kinds of things like that. So if you're listening with your headphones on, that's pretty cool to hear. And I think you're going to really enjoy just hearing this whole thing. So, like I said, we lost Joe Gritton, the writer of both this episode and next week's episode of the old time radio version of the Andy Griffith Show. He was a great friend, great person here on the podcast, and we are so thankful and grateful for him, and that we get to honor him by listening to this episode. So, I feel almost like the host of Masterpiece Theater or something, some kind of a real proper thing, as we throw back here. I won't be coming back at the end. It'll end just like the Andy Griffith Show. I know you're going to enjoy it. So let me go ahead and tell you now, I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415 or email me at floyd@imayberry.com. I'd like to hear how you like these episodes, or if you don't. I love them as myself. I should also preamble this, I guess, to say that all the voices are me. So that's the reason these are pretty, well, they're both easy because I don't have to coordinate with anybody, and hard because I have to do two voices. And then I had to edit it all together. But they're great. I love them. I hope you're going to enjoy it. So let's go and listen to a lost audio version episode of the Andy Griffith Show.
The Andy Griffith Show, starring Andy Griffith, with Ronnie Howard. Also starring Don Knotts.
Yeah, well, hello, Bert. Come on in. You look a little tired.
Oh, thank you, Floyd. I don't want to be a bother. Can I just sit on the bench out there? I was just a little afraid of that goat that was tied up out there.
Oh, yeah, well, yes. Well, that's just Jimmy. Yeah, Hudge probably just left him tied up there while he did a little bit of shopping.
Oh, well, I didn't want to disturb him. I didn't want to bother him or anything. The goat was there first, after all.
Well, it doesn't matter. The shop's empty. Quiet afternoon, I guess. Have a seat.
Thanks. It's good to set the case down and get off my feet for a while. It's been a long day of ringing doorbells. Hey, what's that sign there in the window, Floyd?
Oh, that's about the big hayride coming up Friday night. Yeah.
A hayride? Well, that sounds like fun. But isn't that just for children?
Oh, no, it's not. No. There have been a lot of good stories coming out of those hayrides. Some romances began there, you know.
Oh, really? Like who?
Well, Barney and Thelma Lou, for starters.
Oh, well, I thought they met at Wilton Bear's funeral.
Well, that's where they met. But that funeral parlor that Mr. Swamp took over from Orville Monroe, it's not really a place to strike up a romance. Even though there often are flowers around.
Yeah, I guess the mood is a little, cold.
Yeah, that's funny. Cold, yeah. The back room is cold, it's cold. I went back there one day to comb Johnny Harris's hair. God rest his soul. After you've been kicked in the head by a mule, getting the part right takes a little extra work.
Well, I would imagine so. Well, how did Barney and Thelma Lou meet then?
Well, Barney was lining up some cars for the funeral procession, you see, and he was being very fussy about the order. You know, something about widow, parents, children, sisters, brothers, niece, nephews, and so on. Well, yeah, he's very particular about those type things. Yeah. Sometimes he won't eat his main course until the fruit and vegetables have been eaten. Yeah, Andy asked him why he was letting a few green beans hold up his fried chicken. While it was still hot, he wouldn't eat. He said something about his stomach being a finely tuned instrument. Yeah. It was used to a certain order of cadence of food groups and things like that, That's what Barney said.
Well, that's a little silly. It all goes to the same place, doesn't it?
That's right, yes, that's right. Andy said, Barney, I wouldn't want to stir up your marching band of food groups or anything, but you better make sure your drumsticks and your marching thighs don't get left behind, because it's good chicken. Yeah, it's good chicken. Yeah, drumsticks and marching band thighs. Anyway, Thelma Lou wasn't a blood relative of Wilton. Yeah. But her mother, they'd been very good friends with Miss Blair, and she wanted Thelma Lou to be up there with the immediate family.
Oh, a breach of Barney's protocol then, huh? Dessert before drumsticks.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and he walks up to her car and said, well, little lady, just what do you think you're doing parking your car here along with the immediate family? Funeral procession protocol, it calls for the widow, living parents, children, brothers, sisters. Well, about that time, he stopped immediately.
Did a thought hit him?
No, a car door did. She flung that door open to stand up to Barney. Yeah, she flung it up. Yeah. They caught him right in the gut. And she didn't even notice. And she stood up, her pretty long black dress with a lace collar, and said, well, officer, my mother happens to be Mrs. Blair's best friend, and I spent lots of times as a little girl at her house, and Wilton used to read to me. In fact, when my mother took ill, I moved in to live with them for a while. Then her face welled up in tears, and she kept on going. She said, I may not be a blood relative, but they were like parents to me.
Oh, goodness. Barney really stepped into that one, didn't he? I bet he felt real bad.
Oh, yes, he did. He felt terrible. You see, he was leaning over, trying to catch his breath from the door that hit him in the stomach. Was opening his arms to give her a hug, to comfort her while she was crying. She fell into his arms, sobbing, and he held on to her because he felt bad. And they stood there long enough time that Chester Jones hollered from across the street, hey, Barney, you going to give her a ticket or a kiss?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I guess that was awkward.
Yeah, Barney was pretty embarrassed. Yeah. He found out she was moving back to Mayberry to stay with Mrs. Blair for a while. Yeah. She just finished her secretarial school and was going to try to get a job at the insurance office. Yeah, he felt bad. He felt bad, so he invited her to go on the hayride that weekend.
Oh, the hayride. So that's where the romance began.
Well, technically, the romance began right there on the street outside Wilton Blair's funeral, with her tears in her eyes and him trying to catch his breath. But yes, the covered bridge out by Jeff Pruitt's place, that one.
Yeah. Didn't that used to be a barn until Jeff decided to make a road through there between his cornfields for his tractors, to get to the main road faster?
Yeah, that's the one. Pruitt's Path. Yeah, Pruitt's Path. Yeah. Well, I hear that they were going through that dark bridge, and Jeff took kind of slow, pulling the wagon over the barn floor. Yeah. When they came out the other side, Barney had lipstick all over his face. Yeah. Jenny Boone threw her husband Fred off the wagon, and Harold Fletcher and his girl Lorraine were engaged, and Phoebe Gilbert, she was looking really good there, too.
Whoa! Oh, so that's some covered bridge. Who was with Phoebe?
Nobody. Nobody when the night started. But they say Mr. Swamp moved over real close to her and had a big smile on his face and cleared his throat a few times.
Yeah, like he was going to talk.
Yeah. Well, either that or sing a song or something.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you know him. Yeah. I knew him back when he actually made sounds. Oh, he was just such a mess of the uhs and the stutters. I rung his doorbell one time, and he stood there for 5 minutes trying to say, come in. Oh, I finally opened up my case and brought some socks and some ties and matching pocket squares and a big roll of 2-sided sticky tape. He bought it all.
Oh, he needed that tape for,
Well, to keep the pocket squares in.
Yeah. Well, let's just say to tape down a rug so it didn't slide around or blow away.
Oh, Floyd. Yeah, that could be a hazard if your rug slides, yeah, especially if he dances a lot.
Yeah, well, he does like to cut a rug, doesn't he? Yeah, he's a party animal, Mr. Schwab. Yeah, he gets to flirting with the ladies and drinking root beer, and then who knows what he's smiling and nodding about. Who knows what he's doing? Yeah. Oh, look out the window there. Yeah. Is that Nellie walking by? Hi, Nellie.
Hello, Nellie. Hello.
Yeah, she's got a nice wave. Yeah, a nice wave. Yeah, she don't say much though. She's a lot like Mr. Swan.
Yeah, come to think of it, she is a little bit like him, isn't she? Hey, you know, there's a rumor that he's kind of sweet on her.
Well, no, well, of course I know that. Yeah, of course I know that. Mr. Swamp's sweet on Nellie. You don't run a small-pound barbershop for 30 years and not know some little rumors in town.
Well, I don't know, Floyd. You're kind of confined there with the men in town. If you want to really hear the hot gossip, you got to get out about town and go door to door and listen to folks in their homes and see what you see.
Really? Door to door, in their homes. Yeah, see what you see. That's interesting. What do you see, Bert?
Well, you know old man Wakefield? He once strolled through the house in his altogether.
His altogether? You mean...
That's right. Head to toe, one piece of flannel underwear, all the way. But it was funny. He had one of those flaps in the back. You know, the ones that snap undone. Yeah, well, no secret where he'd been.
Yeah, no secret where he'd been. Where'd he been?
Well, he's in the outhouse or something. He must have been out there. They don't have indoor plumbing out there. He's just prancing around through the house with his red box showing through.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that his all his snaps? What else have you seen, Bert?
Well, you know Claude Beeman family. You know them. You know how they're all prim and polite when you see them on Sunday morning.
Well, yes, yeah. Claude Jr., Claudette, yeah, very proper, yeah, very proper.
I was there once, selling her some utensils. Claude was back in the bedroom. Apparently, he was looking for something. He hollered, "Where's my brown boots?" I could tell she was a little bit annoyed, and for a second forgot I was there, and she spun around and hollered, "Right there under the bed where you left them, you meathead."
Oh, you got him in meathead. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he kind of does favor a lamb chop, doesn't he? Me, Claude Beeman. Yeah.
So, what do you hear? Here at the shop, Floyd. You're here at the shop. What do you hear?
What do I hear? Yeah, what do I hear? Well, you know what it says on the sidewalk out there? Bobby Gribble hates him a lot. Well, I know why he hated her. Yeah, I know why.
Really? Well, why do you hate her?
They were sort of seeing each other, you know, a long time ago, and they got into an argument about Emma's friend, Frances Benjamin, you know. Yeah, Bobby said she looked more like Benjamin Franklin. Emma got pretty steamed up about that, so Bobby, they went out and bought her a snow cone, a blueberry snow cone, I believe it was. Yeah. He took it over to her and said, "Here, cool off and forget about our homely friend Benji." Well, she took that snow cone and dumped it on his head. Yeah, it ran down to his ears and all down his shirt. Yeah, and everywhere. Yeah, he came stomping in here and asked for some shampoo. Yeah, so they had just had finished pouring that cement out there. So when I got finished with the haircut, he went out there and wrote that in the cement. Bobby Gribble hates him a lot. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good story, Floyd.
Oh, yeah. And did you know that Mr. Meldrum dyes his own hair? He dyes it. Yeah.
Oh, you don't say.
Yes. I once gave him a haircut, and my hands were so black, it looked like I work at the blacksmith shop. have you heard the one about Judd falling asleep at church?
Well, no, I don't think I've heard that, but I've seen it happen to Gomer.
Well, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit different. You see, he goes to the Lutheran church out there on the highway where Thelma Lou goes, and you know Edgar Coleman, he does a lot of volunteer work for him. Well, one week he waxed the pews, and they got real shiny. Yeah, real shiny. Yeah. I guess he did them up so well that they were all slick, you see. They were very slippery. Yeah. Well, Judd dozes off, as he usually does at church, and he was starting to slide down. He was sliding down where you couldn't even see the top of his head from the back of the... The preacher was getting all fired up and hollered out loud, real loud. He yelled, "He lives!" The old Judd woke up and so startled, he straightened his legs and slipped right back up in time to holler, "Amen!" And I guess everybody laughed. They called it the resurrection song. Edgar Coleman, he felt bad. Yeah. He said he should have installed some seatbelts for Judd.
Oh, that must have been funny. Oh, hey, look, here he comes.
Who, Judd? Oh, hello, Mr. Swamp. Would you like a haircut?
I don't think he wants one, Floyd.
I didn't think so. All right, you want another bottle of the best witch hazel? Well, it's okay. Yeah, Mr. Swamp. Here you go. Yeah, that'll be $1.79. Yeah. And here's your change. Yeah, 21 cents. 21 cents. There you are. Yeah. Hey, Nellie just went by a few minutes ago. Yeah, not. Well, have a nice day, Mr. Swamp. Yeah, see you later.
See you, Mr. Swamp. Oh, I should have some new product squares coming in next month.
Yeah, did you see that smile on his face, Bert, when I said Nellie just went by?
It wasn't a smile, that was a smirk.
Well, what's the difference? Yeah.
Oh, he knew she was out because she came from his funeral parlor. She was going in that direction.
Oh, she came from over the funeral. Well, Nellie, there haven't been any deaths for 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, but it is past 2 o'clock. She comes over and they listen to a radio show, Gunsmoke, out in the back office. It started once during a slow visitation. He invited her back there to sign some papers and offered her a root beer. But she took a sarsaparilla out of the refrigerator and they listened to Gunsmoke.
Oh, hey, I like Doc on that show. He's my favorite. He's good. Doc's on there. It's good on Gunsmoke. Yeah. How do you know they were listening to Gunsmoke?
Hazel, I saw her hair nets. She found them in there together, listening to the radio. She plays the organ there for the funerals. She was mighty upset.
Upset? Well, is she sweet on Mr. Swamp, too?
No, it was her sarsaparilla, her private stock. She's still holding the candle for Mr. John Masters. You know that, didn't you?
Oh, I see. Well, I thought Mr. Swamp and Nellie seemed to show up a lot for the same social events. You think he talks to her?
No, he can't talk to her. You see, she has this calendar with a lot of faces, famous people, and, on the cover. Then each month, it's a different portrait of a famous person like Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, or Herbert Hoover, Mark Twain, and, so forth. I sold a bunch of them for $2. People use them for appointments and such. Well, she calls it her Facebook. She leaves it on her back porch, and he comes strolling through the alley and goes and picks it up and writes in things on certain dates, like Tuesday at 7 o'clock, Garden Club, Edward's house on Wednesday at noon, Founders Day Planning Committee, City Hall, and so forth. And then they just both show up there.
Well, what do you know? People communicate by Facebook. Never heard of such a thing as that. Yeah, well, I don't know if that'll catch on or not. What'll they think of next? No wonder they show up at the same events all the time, though. If they're writing it in the calendar there, in her Facebook.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know about that, Floyd.
Hey, say, Bert, did you say you're finished up for the day?
Yeah, I think so. Enough doorbells for the day.
Let's see. Razors, whisper. Do you mind if I borrow this case for a few hours?
Well, I guess not.
Yeah, here's the keys. Yeah, you stay as long as you like.
Well, okay, but where are you going?
Hey, Floyd Lawson Enterprises is branching out. Yeah, Floyd Lawson, door-to-door barber. Let's just see how that goes. Hello, Miss Phoebe. I'm Floyd Lawson, and I'd like to offer you a free trial of door-to-door hair care service. May I come in? Thank you.
Floyd's barber shop. Floyd ain't here right now.
Bert, it's me, Floyd.
Oh, hey,
How much
Floyd.
do you want for this black midnight perfume and the button sewing kit?
Well,
Hey, wait till I tell you about Phoebe's date with Barney Five. Yeah.
oh, Floyd.